Welcome, Paul Coaching Patrick, the Fantasy Football Podcast. We're back for another week, back for another week, and we're here with the two most important positions groups, kickers and defenses. Okay, listen.
It's going to win or lose your league.
It honestly might. I mean,
yeah,
okay,
no, because like kickers can get you double-digit points on like
consistently too,
a consistent basis, and if you're like we're in a two-player flex league, and if one of those players underperforms and your kicker gets you like 16, that makes up for it. So these are important position groups. Now, you're going to stream defenses, more than likely. A lot of people do.
Yep.
I do.
Yep.
But
you have the top three defense, that you mostly consistently put them in.
Yeah.
Last week I had two. I had two defenses. It's because we had such a deep lead or such a deep roster that I was able to store two defenses.
Yeah.
And it was stupid. It was just stupid. I don't like that. We need to fix that up this year.
I don't know about that.
I think we're gonna fix it up this year. Whatever.
I mean, it has diminished our trades, and
it definitely has, and waiver wire pickups, everything like that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make it fun, And having to have like good players, on the waivers, it's pretty nice. I want to start it off by just saying we have our first week of Hard Knocks. First week of Hard Knocks happened.
Yeah,
God, Hard Knocks. Yeah. It's Hard Knock season, Paul. It's Hard Knock season, baby. It's Hard Knock season, baby.
It's back.
It's back. We're the Dallas Cowboys, baby. They started off with Dak Prescott after his ankles. He had two ankle surgeries.
I think that was like the most appropriate thing that they could have done. Just started with the obvious, storyline behind the Dallas Cowboys, the health of Dak Prescott, and how that's going to, transpire through the preseason. And you saw in the episode in a shoulder strain. Which, they actually got help from Major League Baseball teams.
Yeah, the athletic trainer.
Yes.
The main athletic trainer for Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
They got they got help from the New York Yankees and the Texas Rangers. Yes.
And they recommended that he just kind of take it easy for a while and let that heal naturally, and then ramp up his workload when he feels better. But I really liked the fact that he was like, he wanted to stay on the sideline after the injury and just be with his teammates. I mean, that's a leader right there, man. Like, that's what you want to see out of your team captain, your quarterback, your $160 million man. And like Mike McCarthy said as much, but he wanted him to get like fully tested. But I think Dak knew exactly what was going on, and I don't think he was too concerned. And that's why he stayed out there as long as he did. But they ended up sending him in and obviously getting that checked out by the trainer. And
a little thing with the Dak and Zeke relationship. It's so cute. It's just so cute.
Oh, man. I love Zeke. I hate where he went to school, but I like
such a cool dude.
Yeah, that makes it so hard to love him. But he reminds me of Austin. He really does. Yeah. He reminds me of Austin, and
doesn't know how to rap a fucking present. I don't know how to rap a present, but
on YouTube,
I mean, he was doing a pitiful job, but I mean, he has so much money. The whole time I was watching that, I was like, you can pay someone to do this. You know that, right? Yeah. $20 and someone will wrap this present for you.
That was a dope suitcase, by the way.
It's a very nice suitcase. Very expensive. I guarantee it's like
5,000.
Yeah, 5,000 or more. Yeah. I don't want to search it up. Watch it be like 200. No, it wouldn't be that.
No,
it's a nice.
It was nice. It was very nice.
Because the same one,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
twinsies,
and they're pretty close to their birthday.
A week apart actually.
That's crazy.
That's crazy as heck.
But yeah, I mean, Zeke did get diamonds from Dak, so that suitcase had to be
rather expensive. Yeah,
pretty expensive.
I mean, but you're gonna pay $90 million. You have a $90 million contract.
Yeah,
you're running back, highest paid running back in NFL history. So I mean, you're gonna have to shell out for your quarterback.
Yeah. Well, one thing I did take away from that episode is their rookie first round draft pick, Micah Parsons.
Oh man, I love Micah Parsons. He's a child. He's a grown child, and I love him so much. He's like at Penn State practice, they used to have snacks on the sideline, and I love that so much because I get really hungry. But I'm a lion. The Lions always got eat.
Yeah, he had that. He was very odd feller, and if he wasn't a football player, they'd be like, hey, maybe we should lock this guy up, and get him in the mental institution. But no. He has such a playful attitude.
Yeah,
it's like
really
it's perfect.
Does.
It's perfect for football. You know what I'm
I
saying?
love it. I love during like the halftime of the Hall of Fame game. He's like, "Do you have any oranges left?" And he's sitting in the locker room just eating oranges, like while they're trying to get pumped up for the.
Dude, he's very good, and I think it was his mom.
Oh, his east to west is ridiculous.
Yeah,
he is so
phenomenal.
fast. And I mean, you think about that linebacking core now. You got Jalen Smith, who's rocking his college number 9, which awesome, and Van Der Esch, who's just wow.
Yeah,
you go watch Van Der Esch, you're like wow. And now you got Parsons.
Oh yeah, dude.
I mean, they're trying to rebuild this defense, and I think they have the defensive coordinator do it because the last time he was the defensive coordinator, they shut down Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. So. Yeah.
Oh, Peyton Manning had a little cameo in that episode.
Yeah, he did.
Talking to Mike McCarthy. Like, oh, man. Peyton Manning just living the life as a little kid. There, it is nice seeing that little, like, I don't know how well they know each other, Mike McCarthy and Peyton Manning, by having that little football talk, it's going to be a good season. And you kind of relate to yourself when you talk about something.
Going to the Hall of Fame that weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everyone that could have been there was there. Everyone who gave speeches, everyone who was inducted was there.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see him. Peyton, he seems like a guy who's going to be the next commissioner of the NFL when Roger Goodell's done, because there's no way the owners get rid of Roger Goodell because he's made them a lot of money.
Yep.
Billions of dollars. He built this into something essential. And they played out of all of the 4 major sports leagues in America last year, the NFL was the only one to play all of its games. And I think that is really important because America needed football.
Yeah.
America definitely needed football.
And adding the extra 17th game this season.
Oh, yes. That's going to be interesting.
Regular season. Yeah, it's going to be interesting for leagues, too. How's your league going to deal with it?
Yeah,
you'll have to figure it out.
We've discussed that.
Oh, we have not discussed it yet. And we're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Thank you, NFL. So I wanted to talk a little bit. We had our Lions preseason game, and against the Buffalo Bills. This was a complete coincidence. I didn't even know they were playing. I don't care about preseason really. I mean, you get to see, a quick second of your
starters.
Yeah, maybe even like I said.
It really depends on who it is and whether they need it or not.
Yeah,
and a lot of times they don't. Like Aaron Rodgers is not going to play this.
Yeah, he doesn't need to. But we had the Lions versus the Bills, and I mean, coincidentally enough, I have now a Lions and Bills banner flag in my room. I love both the teams. We're both kind of living parallel paths in the NFL,
Yeah.
But one of us is doing better than the other one right now.
Hopefully,
Yeah, hopefully we're all moving
parallel paths. I mean, one team went to the AFC Championship, and the other team picking 7th overall and fired the couch. But whatever.
But yeah, I mean, I love the Bills. I love the Lions. They're both awesome teams. Whatever. But we had our preseason games, and I think the big takeaway from right now we're recording on the Saturday.
Yeah.
The big takeaway was Justin Fields playing. I know you haven't watched any of it, but his stats were he went 14 for 20. Okay, pretty good. 142 yards passing. He had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. Wide open. I know his throwing touchdown was wide open. Tight end, I believe. I don't know. I just saw a little glimpse of it. He looked good.
Yeah, I would say this, that they are playing against second stringers, guys who are not going to be starting. And he's coming from Ohio State, where he's used to playing against talented players and
like NFL ready players.
I would say temper your expectations for him, But maybe not.
Yeah, maybe he does have a grasp on everything.
Yes,
maybe he's the quarterback of this draft.
I hope not.
I hope not. I don't like Ohio State. I don't like Ohio State. We don't like Ohio State here.
I don't like the Bears.
Yeah, and the Bears as well. I mean, the worst of the worst. It is what it is, Paul. It is what it is. But maybe he's gonna do good this year. He said everything is slow, but going like the game pace is fairly slow to compare to what he's kind of used to. So, or what he was used to in practice or training camp.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think that's just taking away that his second stringers he's kind of versing. I mean, he might have had a first stringers for a few plays.
I mean, the fact that they came out and said that Andy Dalton is the starter week 1 has kind of, given him a bit of leeway and ability to kind of build up, the knowledge he needs to play this game. Because, I mean, in college, you may see 1 or 2 players that are NFL ready on a defense in any particular week. Everyone can play. Everyone is fast. Everyone is good in the NFL.
Yeah.
Who's playing? Everyone.
Yep.
And
first stringers.
I know that I kind of when I previously said second stringers, but those guys aren't as NFL ready as
they're as fast. They're as
yes.
I mean they don't play every single down, so they're not used to the exact speed of a real time game.
Yes. So
game time is the only time you get real practice of a game feel.
And it is nice that he has Khalil Mack coming after him, so he can get that timing. Like, you're gonna have 1, 2, and the ball has to be out.
Yeah.
And I mean,
get that down, he could do very well.
I mean, my question is, what does he do when Aaron Donald is staring him in the face and he still has the football in his hand?
Yeah, I'd probably cry. Aaron Donald killed me.
I think most people would. I feel like most people would.
I'd definitely cry. So another little QB thing. That Drew Lock is looking like he's going to be the starter at the beginning of the year for Denver. Might be a surprise, might not be a surprise for most people, but it looks like Ian Rappaport reported that in the he's in the driver's seat of the competition. So pretty much, it looks like he's going to start. He did pretty well. He had a nice long. I forgot who he threw it to, but he had a pretty nice touchdown.
80-yard touchdown to KJ Hamler. Former second-round pick out of Penn State. They need Hamler to step up. They need Jerry Jeudy to step up
very badly. They need that receiver.
Yeah, they need that receiving core. Sutton needs to come back off the ACL.
And Sutton
really well.
Phenomenal receiver.
Oh yeah,
honestly, he could be a top 10 if
he is. Yeah,
it's crazy how good he is.
Oh yeah. No, I was utterly terrified when he came out that the Packers were going to take him at 14.
Ooh, imagine that. That.
I mean, they did take Alexander out of Louisville, and that ended up working out really well for them. They have a top flight corner, but I mean, if Aaron Rodgers had Devontae Adams and Sutton right now, that'd be terrifying.
Yeah,
utterly terrifying. But
very, very bad for most teams.
It would
NFC North especially.
Yes.
Oh, all right. You want to talk about a little bit of Colts action here?
I do. So ESPN's reporting that Carson Wentz and Quentin Nelson are trending towards playing week 1. Now, we talked about this last week. Basically, they had the same foot surgery, and they were scheduled to miss 5 to 12 weeks. And the fact that they're trending towards playing week 1 is a very good thing. They need their best guard. The Colts, you could argue, have the best offensive line in football. Unfortunately, they lost Costanzo to retirement. They did pick up Fisher from the Chiefs, who was released. Ruptured his Achilles, so we're not going to be able to see him till maybe late October, early November at the earliest, I would guess. But this is huge for the Colts. If they can have these guys there for week 1, they can run the football, establish the play action pass, and really get their receivers involved. Michael Pittman Jr., obviously T.Y. Hilton. Mo Alley Cox is a really good tight end. They could run the 2 tight end set, him and Jack Doyle. This could be a good offense, but they need their
company with a great defense.
Company with great defense, and
we might talk about later.
That is very well so.
Okay, Paul. Let's start off with these kickers, baby.
Okay,
kickers, baby, because I don't know any of your lists. In mind. I think I'll just start off. And maybe this is your number one, Harrison Butker. Butker. I don't know. I always pronounce Buckner. I don't know. It's very weird with the K. I believe with the high-powered offense that Kansas City is, he is going to be kicking a bunch of field goals, or he's going to be kicking a bunch of extra points. It's if they can't finish the drive, which Kansas City does finish their drives, I'll give them that. But if they can't finish the drives, he gets those extra points. But those extra points are the key, and I believe he can get over 10 points a game.
I think he can consistently do that because they're so explosive. My concern is this Kansas City just continues scoring touchdowns.
If they
score like 6 touchdowns, I mean that's 6 points for him.
Yeah,
I mean depending on your league, obviously, but
and I mean
in typical standard leagues, extra points.
I don't think every week. That's why I put him as number one. I don't think every single week they're going to be able to score 6 touchdowns, and they're not going to have to kick a field goal because they're going to get stopped.
Yeah,
they're great defense out there. They're going to go against, and they're going to get stopped. Maybe. Okay, Paul. Let's get out of here.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not going to step up.
It's so ridiculous how high-powered that offense is.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
My number one is Justin Tucker, and it's simply because he's the most consistent field goal kicker in the NFL right now. He did not miss an extra point until last year.
Yeah. I don't know how long you went without missing a field goal.
Years and years.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And when he missed it too,
it was a shock. Yeah.
What is going on?
He always does. I believe he's a Catholic, so I was just before the
Yeah. But I mean, I completely understand because they do get stuck, and he can hit a 60-yard field goal.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah,
not easily, but consistently. Let's say it as that. Okay, well, I'll jump to my number 2 because we haven't mentioned him yet. Mr. Will Lutz. I don't think I do.
I should have mentioned this to you. Will Lutz is injured right now. And
what the hell? How didn't I know this? Okay, how long is he injured for, Paul?
I believe it is about 2 months, which is unfortunate.
Okay, well, I'm gonna still put him as my top. He's gonna drop definitely for me from my top 2. But I didn't know about this at all. And thanks for mentioning this right now, Paul. It's the greatest.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll still mention Will Lutz here, but I'd probably move Justin Tucker up. Who's my number 3? Justin Tucker's number 3.
Yeah.
Probably move up to my number 2. Will Lutz to my number 3. After he comes back from this injury that I didn't know about, I still think he's consistent. I don't think New Orleans is going to be able to finish drives as well as they did last year without Drew Brees at the helm. And without, Michael Thomas. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but he's kind of along the lines of Justin Tucker. I think he's a little less power.
He was in Baltimore. John Harbaugh said when he released Will Lutz, he said if I didn't have Justin Tucker, Will Lutz would be our kicker.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, if he was healthy, yes, I'd put him on this list, but unfortunately he's not, and he's not on my list.
But he will become healthy, Paul.
He will become healthy.
Hopefully. I mean, this is earth-shattering, Paul, for me. I love Will Lutz. Will Lutz is my boy.
Yeah, no.
Had him for the last 2 years. I stole him from you.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker was always my boy. He was always my kicker. I drafted him way too early just because I like having those 17-point games from him.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. But then someone in the league had to start stealing him earlier than I would. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to take Justin Tucker in the 4th round or some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. But, yeah, I mean... I guess I have to change my list up here. So I would say Justin Tucker number 2, but then Will Lutz number 3. Paul, who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Younghoe Koo.
Woo! You have a lot of hope in Younghoe, huh?
I really do like Younghoe Koo. I think he's pretty consistent. He makes the long field goals. I wish his PATs were more were more consistent than they were. I believe he had 91% completion in terms of extra points last year, but I think he has the leg strength to really be a consistent kicker. I haven't seen this offense without Julio. We haven't seen this offense without Julio Jones.
Yeah,
and if they get stopped at the 35, I mean that's the 40.
I believe. I mean, we did. We kind of did have a glimpse into without Julio Jones, him being injured
with
as much
him
as
being
he was.
injured. Yes.
So I believe it's going to be
but
consistently around the same.
Kyle Pitts and how that is going to work out, and whether
Kyle Pitts going to be able to replace Julio. If he can do at least 65% of what Julio was doing, or I think it's going to be relatively the same.
Yeah.
Because that offense is pretty high powered. Matt Ryan behind it is a little. I mean, Matt Ryan has good plays here and there. He's just getting older, and he's kind of getting aged out because he's one of those just pocket passers.
Yeah,
and he's not fast.
You seldom find those anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, Tom Brady is the exception.
Yeah, Tom Brady's the exception that just slings it. And somehow just keeps doing it. It's because all his healthy diet, his quinoa is his cheat meal. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing for your life, Tom?
Yeah, quinoa is your cheat meal.
Can't believe that guy got drunk.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a guy who would get drunk. He's like, oh, it's bad for my health. Get out of here, Tom Brady. Kiss your kid on the lips a little bit more. I like Tom, but I don't like him. It's a love-hate thing.
Yeah.
It's just a love-hate thing. Okay,
go Blue.
So that was your number 2?
Yes, that was my number.
Dropped your number 3 because I already gave out my top 3 so far.
My number 3 is Harrison Buckner. As we previously mentioned, the Chiefs are a high-powered offense, and this could be a hit or miss. I mean, if you want to draft him earlier than expected, I mean, you could, but typically I would reserve it for like 12th round or later.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I do have to agree with you. Chiefs are high power offense, and they usually do finish their drives. But if they can't, he's there, and he's gonna make his field goals. He's gonna do it. I think he's pretty decent. All right, I'm gonna hit my number 4. I hope we're the same here because this guy hasn't been mentioned yet. Greg Zuerlein.
Also out right now. I don't know the extent of the injury.
I don't think it's too bad, but let's just act like he's perfectly healthy and perfectly fine right now.
Okay.
He has Matt Stafford at the helm of this offense and pretty decent offense. They did lose their running back, Cam Akers.
I do not believe Zuerlein is playing for the Rams right now.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Oh my God, Paul! I got misinformation here.
Yes.
I had to find out Matt Prater was playing for the Cardinals. Yes. I totally forgot about that. Oh. Was it the Chargers?
Hold on, because I do not have Zuerlein on my list because of the injury. Because I'm not. He's with Dallas right now.
Oh my God! All right, so wait. This is game changing stuff. My list is just completely shot to crap, Paul. Yes. This is ridiculous, Paul. We should have talked about this beforehand.
We should have talked about this beforehand.
It's fine, Paul.
Is it fine?
Is it fine? I'm gonna drop this. I'm gonna drop this guy down. Okay. Greg Zuerlein's off my list right now. We're gonna go number 4, Matt Prater. Matt Prater is with the Cardinals. I know this, Paul. Okay. We just talked about this. Yes. Matt Prater with the Cardinals. Great offense. I think they're going to do very well. Might not be able to finish drives. Hopefully they don't finish drives because Matt Prater is going to be dropping some kicks and some stuff. He's got a great leg. He's pretty consistent. He's missed a few extra points, field goals here and there, but nothing too crazy. In Detroit, where he was pretty good. He'd help finish off our drives. But he was also, we couldn't finish drives in Detroit.
No, and that didn't help. But, he was kicking 54-yard field goals.
And so he was getting a lot of points from that. But, I'm really hoping he does pretty well this year. I like the guy. Nick Swartzen. He's Nick Swartzen of the NFL. All right, Paul. What's your number 4, baby?
My number 4 is Josh Myers. I believe...
Jason Myers?
Jason Myers. I apologize. Jason Myers. Gosh, see,
we are so bad.
Yes.
See, kickers. Okay, listen. Okay,
kickers are people too.
Let's put the asterisks over here. I mean, kickers are important, but they're kind
kind of not important.
Yeah.
Jason Myers, I
love you, kickers.
I'm sorry,
you guys are paid a lot of money, so we can make fun of you. A lot of money. Kick a ball. I mean, I couldn't do it, but you guys can.
Jason Myers. Okay, so he's playing for Seattle. Seattle is a pretty good offense. He had a 61-yard field goal last year. 61 yards.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty consistent on extra points.
Is Matt Prater still in the? Do you have the longest field goal in the NFL?
I believe 64? That's
or
Elliott for the.
Oh really? Really?
Yeah.
I know Justin Tucker was hitting some 70s.
Yeah.
Just in practice, more fucking. Oh my, just ridiculous.
But yes, Jason Myers has a good situation. Russell Wilson. They have Metcalf there. They have Lockett. They have a run game, and they were more consistent with their run game last year. And, if they get stuffed at the 30, he's a pretty consistent kicker. I believe he made all of his extra points. No, maybe all of his field goals. I apologize. All of his field goals last year, which is insane. Yeah.
Yeah,
but I believe he took the job over halfway through the season.
Well, I mean, hopefully he does well. He might pop up on my list later.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I obviously had been wrong before, and I was wrong about his name.
Yeah. All right. Well, at my number 5 would be Robbie Gould. I don't know how the San Francisco offense. I mean, they're pretty nice. I don't know if they're gonna be a full of drives. There were a lot of injuries last year. I mean, and just having
especially to that defense.
Yeah. Having your quarterback out, that was
difficult. But I'm interested to see Trey Lance, because Kyle Shanahan did say that Trey Lance is going to be starting and playing in games this year, and I'm interested to see how that works and whether or not this team can run the football, because when they made it to the Super Bowl, they ran the football really well.
Very well.
And they still have Mostert there. But yeah, Robbie Gould is the old wily veteran who can consistently kick field goals, and doesn't always make them because kickers, but he's been there, and he's seen situations like this. So I would agree with him being on your list.
Okay. Paul, what's your number 6, baby?
My number 6 is Jason Sanders.
Jason Sanders. I don't even know who Jason Sanders is, Paul.
The Miami Dolphins kicker.
Okay.
He threw a touchdown in 2019, I believe. That was absolutely insane. They played like a billion times in red zone.
Yeah.
But he's pretty consistent as a kicking option. I don't know how that Miami offense is going to look. I don't know whether two is going to be able to step up, and if they can't finish off drives. A lot of these teams that we're going to talk about, they can't finish off drives, or they're a high-powered offense. And that's what you're looking for. You can't finish off drives or a high-powered offense. And that's Miami, you don't know. And that's the ambiguous nature of that is like why he's on my list. Because he's consistent for what he is.
Yeah, if that offense does step up this year, I mean, it might be a decent offense, Either way, I think, okay, pretty fair. Not on my list, but kind of just over my head, I guess. So my next number 6 would be Younghoe Koo. Younghoe Koo. Wow. We were talking about him earlier. I know, Paul, but listen.
Low. Listen. I think too low. Way too low.
It might be way too low. I just don't know. If Pitts can step up and full role, and Matt Ryan is not trying to slingshot the ball like a former LA quarterback over there, Chargers quarterback.
He did play in San Diego.
Yeah, whatever.
He was drafted by the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, but
no, actually the Giants, and then was traded. But
whatever. But my whole stake with him is Matt Ryan, because he is getting edged out, and I mean he does have a good arm. He can throw the ball. It's just getting down the field, very inconsistent. I think very inconsistent, but they do have moments of like, adrenaline and just dropping bombs and dimes and I don't know. It's just, and I can't. He seems like a I don't know how to describe it, but I think he will do good. But I don't give 100% trust in him. It's hard to describe. It's just hard to describe for me.
Yeah, I can understand that. My number is 6. 6.
Yes.
My number 6 is Matt Gay, and he is the Los Angeles Rams kicker, and high-powered offense.
High-powered offense.
High-powered offense.
I mean, Matt Stafford. I mean, he was on a team where he wasn't being able to finish drives. So if they can't finish drives, he's going to be a phenomenal kicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Move him to my asterisk number 11 spot. Yeah, I just think any Rams kicker, I mean, pretty good. I don't hate Matt Stafford at all. And he might be able to finish drives here. Maybe this offense clicks for him. But he's a great quarterback. It's just, he would finish drives sometimes, and it's just inconsistent. It's very difficult. Yeah. All right, so number 7 would be Jason Myers for me. Like I said earlier.
Yeah, we previously mentioned that Seattle Seahawks. I believe I'm not entirely sure about this, but he made all of his field goals last year.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty high-powered offense, Russell Wilson, Rusty McJimmies, at the helm with a great receiving core. And I think they can get down the field, and if they can't finish drives, he'll make these field goals. And if they do, he'll make the extra points. So pretty consistent. All right, you're on number 8, 7. My number's all messed up.
My number 7 is Tyler Bass. For the Buffalo Bills, high-powered offense. Again, high-powered offense. He was pretty consistent last year as well, and I might honestly be mistaking Jason Myers for Tyler Bass in terms of the field goals being made. I have to check that out. I apologize.
Yeah, misinformation. Paul. Fake news,
yeah,
Paul.
Fake news.
Fake news about the NFL. How could you?
But. This is a high-powered offense, and Josh Allen has stepped up and is one of the more consistent quarterbacks in the NFL. Really looked like it. His ability to run was really helpful last year. Put them in good field goal position, and this could be a team that really does help. You get forward a kicker that really does help. Get you into the playoffs. So, a later round pick. Again, you're probably not going to want to look at kickers until at least round 12.
Yeah. Or you can just wait until the end, the last round.
Yeah.
I mean, kickers are hit or miss sometimes, and sometimes you can pick them off the waivers, and they'll be the top within the top 5 kickers of the year, off the waiver,
Yeah.
Very inconsistent. But anyway, at my number 8 is Chris Boswell. And let's Paul drop some information on me. He is the Steelers kicker.
I mean, yes.
Yes, and what, Paul?
Yes, it's just he wasn't consistent last year, and I mean,
I think with Big Ben back at the helm, and this offense, a little rejuvenated offense, should be.
I mean, he had
decent.
some really good games in 2019. I remember specifically a
he had injuries.
I
don't know why. I don't know why he dropped out, because he was doing rather well.
Yes, but it was kind of hit or miss for him for a while.
Well, I have him on the hit, Paul.
Okay. Well,
Paul, don't hate my picks here, dog.
I'm not hating your picks.
Paul, we're gonna fight after this. You can watch that. We're gonna have a.
I don't know why we'd fight.
12-round boxing matches, 2-minute rounds, Paul.
Actually, they're 3-minute rounds. But...
2-minute rounds. I'm just taking it easy on you, Paul, because you show out shape.
Okay. Yeah.
True. All right, Paul. Who's your number 8?
My number 8 is Robbie Gould.
Robbie Gould.
Robbie Gould, I want to see what this 49ers offense looks like. I think this is a team that's going to be get down the field, you get to the 30-yard line, and they have to kick a field goal. It looks like that type of team. They're not as good as they were a Super Bowl run. I don't think they're going to be able to run like they did during the Super Bowl run, but I think they're still going to be good enough to consistently move it far enough down the field to kick field goals. And Robbie Gould's pretty consistent, a veteran. I believe his 12th, maybe 13th season in the NFL.
Yeah, he's the old and steady. At my number 9, I have Mason Crosby. It's Packers offense. Come on,
yeah,
let's be real.
Yeah,
and Crosby he's a veteran. I mean, yeah, he's inconsistent sometimes with longer field goals, even with just 30-yard field goals sometimes. Really depends. But I believe he will do pretty well this year. And he'll make his things. There's a little inconsistency, a little asterisk by his name, like, hey, maybe not someone once. I think there's a certain threshold with kickers, where you have a very consistent and then it just drops off very rapidly, and that's where we're kind of at. You know. But go ahead. You're number 9.
My number 9 is Ryan Suckup. Tampa Bay returned all 22 starters from last year.
Ridiculous.
And they have Tom Brady.
I swear to God, Tom Brady wins another Super Bowl. I'm going to cry. Because no one's ever going to do that in a lifetime.
No, it's not going to happen.
Never. So, my number 10, Joey Sly.
How ironic.
Because you have Joey Sly as well?
Yes.
Okay, I like that. We have Sam Darnold there right now.
Yes.
That is, he's been able to sling the ball. I think Sam Darnold was very underappreciated.
Yeah.
He was in the Jets, and
I
at least he has some weapons
Braxton
now.
Berrios where he scrambled out left and threw it back right and hit him perfectly. And it was like, what was that? Like, that's the thing that made him the 3rd overall pick in 2018.
Yeah.
And we didn't see that as consistently because the Jets didn't have
receiving
threats. Receiving threats there. But now he has Robbie Anderson. He has more. Obviously McCaffrey.
Yep.
If this team kind of sputters out in the red zone, Joey Sly is pretty consistent. I ran with him 2019, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, he is able to hit some long field goals. It's just very inconsistent.
Yeah.
And I mean, if he is working on that kicking, working on those long field goals, he should do very, very well. He should actually do better than most people on the list. But because it is, I want to say a more high-powered offense than with Teddy Bridgewater. I love Teddy. He's able to scramble.
Teddy 2 gloves.
He's a good quarterback. I think Darnold is more accurate, more consistent. And he's just kind of a better player.
Yeah.
Realistically. But yeah, I mean, I could talk about Sam Darnold all day. Love the guy. So let's move on to these defenses here. I'm not well versed in defenses. I'm not well versed. This is why this is called Paul Coaching Patrick, because you're supposed to know all this information. I know nothing. I know nothing, Paul. I put 2 kickers on my list that are injured or just like on my team. I don't even know what kickers are on which team. I don't care, Paul.
Well, I called on Jason Myers, Josh. So
Yeah, I helped you out with that. That was it. Okay, I'm gonna start off with Pittsburgh number 1. They just dominated last year.
I would agree. Pittsburgh number 1. So what I look at is whether or not whether the front 7 and the back 4, the corners, are working in tandem.
Corners and safeties?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are working in tandem.
Working as one complete unit,
yes.
Not just separate.
I would say looking at this team, looking at this defense, you have J.J. Watt. They brought in Melvin Ingram to be his running mate. They have Cameron Hayward.
Wait, T.J. Watt, Paul.
I'm sorry, T.J. Watt. Did I say T.J.? I apologize. Thank you, T.J. Watt.
Oh, I just came up with a clutch save there,
yes,
bud.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But they have T.J. Watt, who's going to get paid, inevitably going to get paid quite a lot of money. It's gonna be a massive deal when he gets paid. But they have Cameron Hayward to stuff the run. the guy I really want to talk about on this defense that just impresses me, and you can call me a homer, whatever. Guy coming off an ACL, Devin Bush.
Devin Bush lover over here.
Yes, they traded up to that 10th spot to go get Devin Bush.
He's fast.
He's fast.
He's fast.
He's fast.
He is really fast.
If you watch his last game against Ohio State, they could not do any perimeter running. And the reason why is because he was always there. And when he got injured and left the game, that's all they did. Was perimeter running and play action off. Because they couldn't do that before he was out.
Yeah.
When this guy is fully healthy, when this guy is ready and raring to go, look out. This guy can be the best linebacker in football. 100%. They have Joe Hayden coming back. Terrell Edmonds needs to step up, former first-round pick. This is a good defense. This is going to be a good defense.
Very nice, very nice. Let's move on to number 2. I have the Rams at number 2. And I mean, if you want to talk about the Rams for me, yeah. I mean, I know we got leader Sam Darnold in the helm. I mean, one of the most not Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald. Oh my God, Donald. Paul, what are we doing right now? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Topsy-turvy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Okay, Aaron Donald. Probably the best defensive lineman I've ever played. The most technically proficient person. I've never seen anyone just play the position so well. Hits air, bends towards the ball. Hits air, bends towards the ball. You know, gets down blocked. hits on the opposite side. You know, following through to get to the running back. He's just so good. I mean, play in and play out. He does his job, and that's anyone that could ever ask for. And for defensive linemen, be interior defensive linemen, to be this notorious there's a reason for it. And I mean, it's because he is almost
he blows up plays.
He's like the Rock. He's just like the Rock in the NFL. You know, he's just a perfect man.
Yeah.
But you know, if you want,
I was thinking about this. When you see a guy go in on Christmas morning, and I mean Christmas morning, to study film for the following week's game when the building is empty, like that just tells you the commitment. I mean, he was in tears when they lost last year in the playoffs to the Seahawks. No, they beat the Seahawks. I'm sorry. But when they lost last year in the playoffs, I believe it was the Bucks.
Might have been.
Oh gosh, my mind, it's going. Forgive me, my mind is going.
It's all right, Paul.
But when you see that guy so committed to his craft, and I saw this play against Kansas City where he had 2 offensive linemen block into him. He had a tackle block inward and the guard block out, and both into him, and he split them. He split them so easily. And this was back when Alex Smith played quarterback, and he got to Alex Smith, and it was simple for him. And that was years ago, and now he's learning nuances. He keeps learning. He keeps evolving. He's just better. But I mean, aside from Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, who they paid a lot of money to, you know, he's gonna have to be his running mate and help in that pass rush department. They want Taylor Rapp to step up. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey, they paid him. You know,
trash talking.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Ramsey's surprisingly a large dude.
Yeah, you know? He's lengthy, and that's why he was a third overall pick.
Stocky too, and it's crazy how fast he is.
Oh yeah,
it's just for as big as he is, like he's the size of receivers, and he's able to guard them pretty well. I mean, you usually have corners, you know, they're a little skinnier just because they're fast, but they're quick agility.
Again, third overall pick out of Florida State.
Phenomenal.
I believe it was 2016. No, wait, I was both this year. 2018. 2018.
Indubitably.
No, that wasn't 2018 because that was Darnold. God, I
don't know. Whatever, Paul. Anyway.
I
think they're going to be a defense to stand up to. I think it's an easy play week in, week out. Most cases, you know,
yes.
Maybe a high-powered offense. Maybe they have problems with, but Anyway, your number 2, Paul?
My number 2 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
BB.
And it starts on the defensive line. Well, honestly, I could start on the defensive line, but their best players are their linebackers. The linebackers are insane. So you're talking about Devin White, who 5th overall pick, coming out in 2019, crazy fast. Athletic as could be.
Yep.
You have Levante David, team captain, leader. Also Devin White's the team captain, but Levante David has been there for seemingly ever, and has been just consistent, and he's running mates with Devin White. And then you talk about Shaq Barrett, who got paid. And there's a reason he got paid, because he was so consistent. And I watched him in Denver, and I thought, why did they let that guy walk out of the building? It made no sense to me then. He was so dominant in Denver, but they had so many dominant linebackers back in 2015, 2016, that you could kind of understand it, but not really. I mean, this guy wasn't a starter in Denver and then blows up in 2019, led the NFL in sacks, had 8 last year, can be really consistent. Ndamukong Suh coming back, running with Vita Vea. Really excited to see how that goes. Antoine Winfield Jr. watched his dad play when we were young. It's really awesome to see him, a guy who can step up in that secondary and really be a nuisance going forward for NFL quarterbacks. This is a really good team. Again, returning all 22 starters, every starter on that defense, and they won the Super Bowl last year and made a run late.
Yeah, and honestly, the run late was probably because of their defense. Their defense was dominant.
Dominant
in the playoffs.
I mean, go watch that NFC Championship against the Packers.
It was just so good. I mean, crazy. It was crazy. The Packers were such a high-powered offense, and they just got shut down. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen, and it was the most disappointing fantasy thing. Damn, I just thinking about that. I want to move Tampa Bay up to my number 3 spot, and I have to move Tampa. I have to move Tampa Bay up. I'm not like I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah,
I was so just struck. I didn't even think about it, Paul. Tampa Bay number 3. Tampa Bay number 3 for me. Tampa Bay number 3. What's your number 3, Paul?
My number 3 is the Rams, and we discussed why the Rams are where they are.
Yep.
Again, I want to mention, I think that Taylor Rapp really does need to step up. Former 1st-round pick. I think that, I'm sorry, 2nd-round pick. They haven't had a 1st-round pick under Sean McVay, but a high 2nd-round pick. A guy who should have gone in the 1st round, and hopefully he can step up and really help Ramsey in that secondary. And if he does, the Rams can make a run. He can. Because we mentioned their offense.
Offense, solid defense. They have a really good shot to be a Super Bowl contending team.
Yeah.
This
year,
NFC honestly,
is just going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. Number 4, I have Washington, the Washington football team. The Washington football team with little Mr. Chase Young. I mean, okay, so Chase Young, just I'm just gonna talk about what I know about the defense, but how bad as their offense was last year, their defense made up for it and got them some wins last year and did pretty well. I don't know if you like this. You don't like this placement at all? I think it's a pretty good. I do. I think it's a pretty good placement for him.
Oh, I really do.
But I think Chase Young is probably one of the best defensive ends in the game right now, and he's young. He's a baby. It's a little baby out there. Just a full-grown man.
I mean, to be a former 2nd overall pick, and live up to that is difficult. But I mean, he did that in so many regards. This defensive line is insane. You're talking about obviously Chase Young. We've mentioned that, but Deron Payne, former 1st-round pick out of Alabama. Jonathan Allen, former 1st-round pick out of Alabama. He got paid a lot of money. We talk about Montez Sweat, a linebacking core, extremely fast. I wanted him coming out of Mississippi State. That dude was fast.
Yeah,
he's extremely fast.
He had the controversy behind him.
He did, and I wanted to mention this, that he's kind of a guy who doesn't take criticism well, and I think that they hired the perfect guy to come in there, Ron Rivera, who runs the defense, make sure everything is what he wants it to be. And I think a perfect guy to really get the best out of Montez Sweat. And if he can, this is a guy with a really, really high ceiling. You know, again, extremely fast. I don't like to really make comparisons.
But you're gonna make him. Let's make him, Paul. Make comparisons. Do it, Paul. Do it. Just say it.
I don't want to say it though, because it's like it reminds me, like when he is coming around the corner, it kind of reminds me of LT just a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's. I don't say that lightly. I don't say that lightly, because I mean, he's got to work on his pass rushing moves. I think he's got to get a bit stronger, but he is extremely fast. And there was an interception last year where he tipped it to himself when he got off the edge. And it's just like, if you have that ability, I don't know. Like, I don't know how you stop that. If he gets the full potential of himself, you know, again, I don't like to say, I don't say LT lightly. No one should say LT lightly. I don't say LT lightly, but his ceiling could be close to that. It's not LT. He's not. No one's ever going to be Lawrence Taylor. No one's ever going to be Lawrence. Let me make that perfectly. No one is ever going to be Lawrence Taylor. But this guy has a similar skill set that we saw when he came out of North Carolina.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, Paul. Well, who's your number 4, baby?
My number 4, and I apologize, it's San Francisco 49ers.
Let's go.
So they get Nick Bosa back, who was their leading sacker.
Man's get paid. He got paid last year.
No, that's Joey Bosa.
Ugh. I hate Bosas. It's fine.
Yes. Well,
they're both the same person. I don't care. I don't care about the Bosas.
You know, Nick is honestly better than Joey. It looks like it. I mean, if we got one full season and he looked all the part of a top pick.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I would say that Fred Warner is kind of the guy there who really makes everything go. Was the highest paid linebacker for like a week, and then that was eclipsed by a guy that I'm going to talk about later. But I think those two guys on this defense can really, really amplify the entirety of this defense. And when they're together, I mean, there are more. There are more. And just 1 second. I apologize.
Better apologize, Paul.
I mean, when you look at Eric Armstead, former first-round pick, D Ford, former first-round pick, Devon Kinlaw, who they need to step up this year, they went and they drafted him 14th overall. This is a team that needs their former first-round picks to step up and make plays. And honestly, this could be a really good defense this year. A really good defense.
Interesting.
Especially that defensive line. I mean, their corners aren't really anything to talk about. You talk about Tart, but I mean, it's their defensive line, it's their linebacking core, it's their front seven that's going to make or break season.
Well, Paul, I'm gonna move on here, bud. I'm gonna move on at my number 5. Sorry, I got my list all mixed up here. I don't have a pencil to kind of change around my thing. But at my number 5, I put the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts, the only reason.
So when I said Fred Warner was the highest paid linebacker for like a minute, it's because this guy eclipsed him. And his name is Darius Leonard. Former second-round pick. Guy moves everywhere. Everywhere you want him to be. $99.5 million. to him ridiculous amount of money, highest paid linebacker in NFL history, and there's a reason why. He leads that defense. They need him to continue being what he is. They went and they got DeForest Buckner, who used to play for the 49ers and was on that Super Bowl team. But honestly, it's those two. It's those two stepping up. It's those two making plays. And I think, honestly, when you look at this, in the long run, if the Colts offense can be consistent and keep their defense off the field, because you have London, as we mentioned, DeForest Buckner, but Kwity Paye needs to be a guy, needs to be the guy, and I think his humble background, go blue, first round pick, let's go. If he could step up and be a sack guy, because he wasn't a huge sack guy at Michigan, but I mean, I mentioned this in our draft recap of the first round. Go watch that Minnesota tape. Go watch that Minnesota tape. He absolutely dominated Minnesota. And if he can be more consistent and learn some things from Frank Reich and that coaching staff, sky's the limit for this. Genuine.
So, Paul, you're number 5?
My number 5 is the Baltimore Ravens. Ooh. And basically,
that defense is so good, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Kind of held them up last year, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Because you thought they were gonna have this high octane offense from the year prior, where Lamar Jackson MVP season, and then it just gets shut down. Lamar stops running as much because they don't want to get him injured, which is understandable. But that's kind of why he was dominating so much, because he was so loose on the feet. But then to have that defense step up, that's kind of the reason why they were doing so well and why they kept in the playoffs there.
Okay. So let me talk about the Baltimore Ravens, because I look at mainstays, Brandon Williams, Calais Campbell's coming back for a second season, Patrick Queen, former first round pick, Patrick Queen, I'm sorry, I didn't mean Queenie, Patrick Queen at LSU, extremely fast, looked really good last year. They need him to step up. But so many teams, they have one good corner. Oh my gosh. They have one good corner. This team has two good corners. Two really good corners. Marlon Humphreys out of Alabama looked all the part of a former first-round pick. And then Marcus Peters, who they traded and got from the Chiefs, which is ridiculous. Actually, the Rams, because he initially played for the Chiefs. They got him from the Rams last year. Ridiculous, because the Rams couldn't afford to pay him.
Yeah. And
they have two really good corners. You don't see that often. If they can lock the number 1 and 2 receiver down, people like Brandon Williams, people like Calais Campbell can interrupt the passing game. Patrick Queen is a sideline-to-sideline linebacker. Really good player. Needs to step up. But if he does, because they lost Matthew Judon in the offseason, that was a big loss for their defense. And that's why Patrick Queen needs to I keep saying Queenie. Queen needs to step up.
Well, so you kind of just took it out of my mouth. At number 6, I have Baltimore for the same reason. I mean, who is the defensive lineman I'm thinking of? 6'9", whatever. What's his name?
Calais Campbell.
That's what I thought. I wasn't 100% sure because I don't know names, Paul. I don't know names like you. He's just such a big dude. Like, yeah. Oh my god, dude, he's built differently. I mean, this is different. He's just a different dude. I mean, it just their defense stood Kansas City up. That was crazy.
Yeah,
that game was insane.
Yeah,
they were embarrassing Kansas City's offense and making them look like, oh hey, they don't even know what they're doing. The most high-powered offense in the NFL, like probably in the last like fucking 50 years, And they were setting him up. I was like, "This is ridiculous. What's going on? I don't even know what's happening. Whatever." But yeah, I have him Number 6. I think I'm sorry. I have my list all jumbled up. It's hard for me to keep.
Yeah, it's okay.
Keep numbers. But yeah. So you're
my number 7 is the Washington football team, and I honestly want to put them higher right now.
Yeah.
We mentioned that. I mean, the defensive line is ridiculous. They have just an utterly absurd amount of just talent on the defensive line. You talk about Chase Young, and he looked. I mean, you watch that first preseason game, and the little he played, he was dominant.
Yeah.
And
did he get a sack, rep, fumble? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure he forced a fumble.
And then you have Daron Payne, who, again, a guy who needs to step up.
Yeah.
Jonathan Allen, guy who they paid a lot of money to. And then you look at the linebacking core, Montez Sweat. I do not say LT lightly, and I don't think anyone will ever be LT. But this guy can be close.
Very similar. Okay. So next I have San Francisco. We talked about him earlier, and I have him later on my list because you had him higher on your list. I don't know. I don't know what I was getting at here, but dropping the San Francisco a little down there. I mean, they would have to step up. Hopefully, their offense keeps them off the field, so they're not dying. I think if their offense can keep them off the field and they have long drives.
It really is about their defense staying healthy, and Nick Bosa coming back. That's going to be huge for them. And their offense needs to run the football. We mentioned this. They need to run the football.
You get my point, though.
Yeah.
The longer defenses stay off the field, the better they are.
Yeah.
Because they're explosive, fast, and they need to get plays.
Yes.
They need to have big plays to get off the field. Where offenses, they have a slow, methodical. You want these long drives from your offense. You want 22-minute drives,
Yes.
Like, I mean, that's not realistically, but, like, that's what you want out of your offense. You want the longest drive possible, And that's why I think Tampa Bay so well, because Tom Brady, he drives the ball. He drives down the field, throws those routes, gets out of the sideline, slowly, methodically just picks it down the field and then gets a touchdown. And the defense is well-rested. Gets back on the field. Okay, 3 and out. Let's go. And if San Francisco, if their offense can step up, get these long drives going, I think their defense should do better than where I have them placed. But, that's just my opinion. Okay. So your number, I don't know what number we're at.
I believe 8.
Number 8, Paul.
My number 8 is New England Patriots. This is kind of a no-name defense in a certain way. I mean, there are big names in this, obviously. You talk about Gilmore, who's injured right now. Leave on the COVID list. Former defensive player of the year, and that's hard for corners to win. You don't see that often. That's happened 3 times in the last decade. But he done it, and get Dante Hightower back. Huge contributor to that defense. Talk about getting Matthew Judon from the Ravens, who I could argue was their best pass rusher last year, and why Patrick Queen needs to step up for the Ravens, because they need someone to fill that role, kind of. And despite the fact that Patrick Queen's no linebacker, he needs to take that role from him, because Matthew Judon was a great pass rusher. He played at Saginaw Valley State, up north in Michigan. Michigan. And at 28 sacks his senior season, he was a really good player for them. They picked up Henry Anderson from the Jets, paid him a good amount of money. I don't think a lot of their draft picks have worked out, so they spent a lot of money in free agency. They have Lawrence Guy there, who's a consistent sort of player. This all kind of centers around Bill Belichick and coaching them upright, and he's an excellent coach. A guy who I don't praise Bill Belichick all that often. I don't really like the Patriots, frankly, but I respect them, and I respect Bill Belichick's football knowledge. He loves this game. It's quite obvious the way he talks about it so often. When you get to see him, they during the 100th season in the NFL in 2019, they did an all-time team, and he was on the NFL Network with Rich Eisen, with people who were featured on the all-time team, and talking about his love, and you could see it in his eyes, his love for the game of football. He's going to coach him upright. He coached Lawrence Taylor. He coached the Giants to a win in 1986. A win that a lot of people didn't see happening. He coached them in 1990 to beat the Buffalo Bills. I mean, this is one of the best defensive-minded head coaches ever, and you rarely see that. Where they succeed on to the level that he has. Obviously, he had Tom Brady for a while, but I feel like those defenses have always been consistent. And I mean, you look at who he sent to Canton. He sent Ty Law, go blue. He sent Richard Seymour. He sent, I mean, I think Richard Seymour's eventually going to be in there, but Teddy Bruschi's eventually going to be in there, Hall of Fame. Like
Eventually, anyway, I do like their discipline they have there. I mean,
it's a culture. Yes, I'm going off.
You're going off on Belichick.
Yes, because I
do respect it. A lot of teams don't like a lot of players don't actually like playing in New England because it's like you go from like Seattle, where really laid back team, you're just having fun and everything, but you're playing hard because you like your coach. To Bill Belichick, who's disciplined, and you're running wind sprints after you do something wrong, Anyway, my number 8 is the Buffalo Bills. From my knowledge, a lot of injuries last year kind of derailed that this is supposed to be top 5 defense last year. But their offense, I kind of referred to this a little bit ago, but their offense is able to drive down the field and have these long, consistent drives, and it's keeping the defense off the field. But the injuries did kind of plague their ability to do well. So hopefully, with all their stars back and everything aligning, they should do pretty well. And I have them lower on the list, but they honestly have a higher ceiling and pretty lower floor. I mean, this is really their floor. I'm keeping it there.
Okay, so I want to name off a lot of these guys.
But
so you have Jerry Hughes, the old guy who won't go away because he gets sacks and disrupts. Star Lotulelei, who is a heck of a player, a former first-round pick for the Carolina Panthers. Really a guy who can eat up blocks, take away just offensive lineman. Ed Oliver, who is a mini Aaron Donald. It's looking like. But then you get in the linebacking core. Tremaine Edmonds, a former first-round pick. I've mentioned how fast at a linebackers are. I think this guy is the quickest linebacker in the NFL. The quickest linebacker in the NFL. Even more than Devin Bush. And I love Devin Bush. Guy is only 3 years of age. Do not quote me on that. But he's incredibly young. Already a team captain. And Tre'Davious White, an obvious an obvious star on this defense when he has other players around him. Jordan Pryor, former first-round pick out of Louisville. Levi Wallace looks really good out of Alabama. Was running mates with Humphreys back at Alabama. Learned a lot from him. Learning a lot from White. I really like this. And Micah Hyde. There's no one more respected in that Bills locker room than Micah Hyde. Really great player. Really great safety. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Bills bounce back this season and play really well.
True. All right, your number 9, Paul?
I apologize. My number 9 is The Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills. All right, so my number 9 is the Kansas City Chiefs defense. Surprisingly, decent defense for as good as their offense is. How do you have like it doesn't make sense how you can have a decent defense with that high octane offense? You know, you have to pay your guys. You know, but go ahead. I mean, you know more about this than I do.
I would. Okay, Chris Jones is the best interior lineman they have, and quite honestly, just a frightening dude. The status on Frank Clark is kind of questionable right now. I believe there was a domestic violence incident arrest.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but when he's on the field, he's very explosive. But that doesn't really matter, you know, in terms of what his future holds. We don't know in terms of the arrest, but when he's on the field, they're a better team for it. But again, that's not really a relevant thing when talking about domestic violence. I'd like to see how that plays out. The Honey Badger, Tyrann Matthew, defensive captain, everywhere. Everywhere.
He's been so good since he came out of the draft.
Everywhere.
Just a phenomenal player.
Everything you want to see out of a safety, and that's why they paid him $80 million, because he's that good. This is a good defense. This is
a solid defense for as good as their offense is. It's crazy how good they're. The point I'm trying to make is like it doesn't make sense how they have this decent of a defense with as good as their offense is.
They did pick up Jalen Reed from the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah. I believe a former first round pick, maybe second. Pretty good. Not the greatest. A good kind of. He's gonna eat up blocks and help other guys, you know, move forward. I want to see how this Frank Clark thing kind of
pans out.
Yes.
But anyway, I mean the reason why I did it is because Kansas City again. I just said this about Buffalo. They put drives together. They eat up time, but also they do have explosive plays. So the defense is kind of out there a little bit more, but generally the offense is on the field a lot more than the defense in this team, you know, and it gives them a little bit of a break, and so they can breathe. They can have these explosive, you know, plays, and they can get off the field. So your number 10, Paul?
My number 10 is the Cleveland Browns.
Ooh,
yeah. Myles Garrett has a running mate right now, and that's scary.
Yeah.
Former first overall pick in 2017. God, he's explosive. He's explosive. He got paid a lot of money, and now he has Jadeveon Clowney running with him. But I'd also like to mention the fact that they have Malik Jackson, former Super Bowl MVP, played for Denver, and then Jacksonville, is now in Cleveland. And then you look at Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward needs to play really well this year to really help those two guys that we previously mentioned get after the quarterback. And I just like this defense. They have Anthony Walker. I think Anthony Walker is very underrated as a linebacker. I want to see another season with him kind of, you know, running things there. But this is a good team.
Jadeveon Clowney.
They're going to run the football, and it's going to help that defense a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Nick Chubb behind the helm, and with Kareem Hunt, that it's a dangerous duo because Kareem Hunt, you can scroll out.
And this defense just keeps getting better and better and better, and it's a mentality.
Oh, I don't like this team's getting good. Oh, I don't like Cleveland. Oh, Ohio. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, but I understand the pick. I put New England as my number 10. Due to the fact that it is New England and Bill Belichick builds teams out of nothing, and it is the most ridiculous thing ever. My whole why I dropped them a little bit lower than you is because I don't believe their offense is where it should be or where it's.
And I can understand that, but I think defense prevails because of Bill Belichick, and
if it does, I mean they are going to be very good, but I think the offense is just going to get creamed out. Oh, it was Chase Young. He stripped Cam Newton.
Oh, yeah.
Strip cams. I remember this. I saw this earlier. I'm pretty sure that was it.
Yeah. Ron Rivera wanted to scream at Chase Young, you can't sack him because he was, but he's like, oh, he's on the offensive team, so I can't say that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it should be a relatively good defense, you know.
Yeah.
It's New England, dude.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick, he just knows what he's doing. I'm not gonna go off on Bill Belichick, you know, like you did, but I do believe he created a culture with some hardworking people, and you don't have to be an all-star to be a top defensive player in New England. It's just that's how it is. I mean, you look at Kyle Van Noy.
I did not mention Kyle Van Noy. He went to Miami for a season, got paid a lot, and they released him because he did not play like they wanted him to.
Exactly.
But I mean, they used him differently than they did in New England, and I didn't necessarily like that. I want to see how Kyle Van Noy gets re-implemented into this defense.
He seemed like he was in Detroit. That's how I at least knew him.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything in Detroit really, honestly. If we're looking at it, I mean, he had a few good plays. You know, he did decent. But he wasn't a player. He was in New England.
He was very explosive in New England.
They utilized him perfectly.
Yes.
And you know, he's not a completely like
he's the guy who really benefits from having Dante Hightower next.
Yeah.
Dante Hightower takes a lot of work to deal with, and
big boy.
Yeah. And Kyle Van Noy benefits from that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be awesome to see this.
So they utilize them correctly. That's the thing about New England. They have the X factor of being able to utilize people in ways other teams cannot.
Yes.
And that's why New England's they're always going to have a really good defense with Bill Belichick at the helm. But yeah, so this was our episode. This is our second episode of Fantasy. Next week we're going to have the meat and potatoes of your team. Running backs and wide receivers. It's the most important episode, and it's something I actually know about because I feel I did very poorly this episode.
As did I. I mean, I did.
Oh, I mean, because you know, let's be real.
We try.
Yeah, we try kind of. I mean, I put some notes together, and I thought I had this is honestly just based off what I was just like thinking about last year, you know, and I kind of put a list together, and then I kind of looked at things, but I didn't really go into depth about it. But running backs and wide receivers, it's like the back of my hand, and creating 10 is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Because you have so many. You have so many to choose from. I mean, you have 32 starting running backs, but honestly, there's you have
there's
teams,
a lot of receivers. You're going to find some really good
receivers. There's a lot of depth in receivers.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's next week's episode. It's it's gonna be a banger, guys.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that. Anything you have to say before we skedoodle on out of here, Paul?
I don't believe so. No.
We'll have another week of Hard Knocks in. We're gonna have another.
We'll discuss that, and we'll discuss headlines.
Yeah, little things here and there. Preseason games. We'll see if any starters hit the field again next week. Maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? But we'll see next week. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, take care, Paul. It's been nice. It's been nice. It's been a very poor episode, but it's all right. It's all right. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Take care. Bye-bye.